Forget what you heard. Yeah, boy!
Everybody, welcome back to another episode of Forget What You Heard. I'm Aaron.
And I'm Luke.
And on today's episode of Forget What You Heard, we're getting into week 7 of the NFL season. It's spooky season off the field, and it's spooky season on the field. But before we get started, I'm going a little bit insane, and there's only one person that can bring me back to sanity, and I need to hear his voice right now. How are you, Brother Bear?
I'm doing good, man. We spent the day kind of renovating our podcast space.
We did.
And it's very comfortable, and I'm happy to be here to talk about some NFL football, some Week 7, and I'm doing good, man. I really am. I appreciate you asking, and I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, we downsized a little bit, made it a little simple. You know, some things, addition by subtraction, some would say.
Right. Yeah. Definitely got some more space in here and downsize, but hopefully in the future we're able to, upscale it, make it nice.
Yeah, get some lazy boys up in here.
Yeah, maybe beanbag it.
Beanbag, dartboard.
Get you one of those.
A bidet.
Shoot, I'll be podcasting on that thing.
But before we get started on football, I had an interesting thought earlier today.
Sure.
Do you think there are some shady animal characters?
Shady.
Like let's say, there's a bear cub, a raccoon, but he's like the black sheep of the family. Like, he can't kind of crosses the line a little too much, And they're like, man, we don't know what to do with him. Or let's say there's a bear cub, but he wants to be a dolphin. Like, do they stray away? Are they just so ingrained in their nature that they are just what they are,
Yeah, that's a very interesting topic. I think for the most part they're ingrained. I mean, unless they are like the black sheep of the family and they end up getting kicked out, and then maybe then they're trying to find a way, like maybe they get kicked out, he's not welcome no longer in his tribe or his family, and then he has to take the dolphin route to survive. He just maybe, man, I gotta become a dolphin to make it out here.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm pretty sure it's, their nature just to be what they are. Like a bear's gonna be a bear, a wolf. But the interesting part of all this, I said black sheep. A black sheep is an animal.
It is.
So is it like they just look different in the animal kingdom? Why do we call them the black sheep?
I don't know. Maybe because I guess a regular sheep is white,
right?
So I guess it's like the opposite. It's the black sheep. It's the one that stands out in a negative light. He's acting a fool. He's getting in trouble. And it's easy to notice the one black sheep out of the herd of the white one. So you pick up on all the mistakes that he's making. You pick up on all his bad tendencies. And it's just, it's pretty obvious to see which one's which.
I think my example is a little too extreme, like a bear wanting to be a dolphin. Or like, I think another example would be like a raccoon being like an animal in their group or their pack or whatever. One of them's like uber aggressive, like he's always looking for human meat. Like, and they're like, okay, this guy is like really, like he's got the taste for blood. You think that is the thing? I think that's the black sheep in the animal community.
Yeah, I could see that because maybe it's, he's bringing a lot of harm to the group because he's out here trying to, hurt humans or other animals that are going to come back and retaliate, that could bring a lot of harm back to the group. But for the most part, I think the ones that are aggressive towards like humans or other ones are normally like the mama or papa bears. The ones who can hold their own, that are going to make the smart choices. And the ones that, know the risks. They know that whatever happens, they're going to have to take it on.
I think a lot of times the ones that go after humans have already been kind of outcast. Because you hear about the lone wolf. You hear about the bear that, he's kind of starving because the pack's not helping him out anymore. You hear about the raccoon not getting a little bit of the grub in the dumpster. They're kind of, shaded away. And I think that leads them to this dark path. It's not drug addiction. It's human addiction, the taste for flesh. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see that because, I guess another example of that would be like the kid in school who, wasn't with the cool group. The cool group kind of forced him away. Like, dang, this guy's a little weird, man. And he wasn't able to make a lot of friends. And, he had to find a way to cope with that. And, sometimes that turns into a lot of negative. A lot of issues could be eventual drug dealer, taking drugs, having to deal with that.
He could also become a carny.
Yeah, you could be doing that stuff.
What is a carny to you?
Someone that creates carnage or is looking for it.
See, by the context clue, that's a very good answer. But a carny is someone that works in a carnival/circus. Very strange type of person to join one of those groups, I think.
Yeah, I could see that. But are you insinuating like carnival workers normally the ones that were kind of outcasted?
Yeah, I think if you talk to a carny, they have a lot of childhood trauma and maybe like, abandonment issues, so they join a group to travel with. But I think there's a lot of dark stuff that happens in those things,
I've never really been to a carnival before like that, but I definitely see it, dressing up. You have your little roadies, you're performing, people are laughing at you.
The bearded lady.
Having a good time. It probably makes you feel pretty good, entertaining people. So I could definitely see that.
I think the moral of this story is include everyone, even if they're a little odd, embrace them and, take them under your wing. You never know when, that kind of embrace is needed in someone's life.
Yeah, 100%. I think, everyone's a little different than each other. No one's really the same, but you have to be willing to accept others. And, even if you don't agree with a lot of things that they do or they say, at the end of the day, we're all just human beings. And what perfect sport is there to be a team player than in football?
Dang, that was a great segue.
Because you just got to think, man, these guys are like brothers and sisters out there on that field, man.
I tell you what, man, let's get into it, man. I'm inspired now.
Unless you're on Richie Incognito's team.
Me and Luke did not choose each other as brothers, but look at us now. We're on a podcast.
Yes, sir. Forget what you heard.
But yeah, like you said, back to brotherhood. We're on the gridiron now.
Oh, yeah, I got a taste for that long iron.
Thursday night football. We had the New Orleans Saints versus the Arizona Cardinals. On the New Orleans side, Andy Dalton, 361 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, 3 picks. Alvin Kamara, 49 yards rushing. Chris Olave, 14 targets, 7 catches, 106 yards. Shaheed had a touchdown, and Juwan Johnson had 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, man, that Shaheed character is very interesting. I think he has 2 NFL touches, and they both went for touchdowns.
What is he, a tight end or?
He's a receiver.
He's a receiver?
Man, he's got wheels too, man. That dude, he took an end around last week, took it to the house. It's like 60 yards. And then he caught a deep ball in this game and went for a touchdown. So he's got a knack for that end zone, man.
I like that.
Andy Dalton, 361 yards, 4 touchdowns. But he had a lot of bad, dumb interceptions, turnovers. I know a few of them got tipped, but he had a bad one late. You know, they were driving, close game, and got picked in the end zone.
Yeah, I think the Saints are they're struggling. I don't even think if Jameis comes back, it's any better. They're just struggling. I mean, I think a lot of people going into Thursday night were expecting the curse of Thursday night, where we pray and hope for a touchdown. But this game delivered a barn burner.
Yeah.
Let's go to the Cardinals.
I kind of expected it to be kind of a lower scoring. Like, you kind of look at these teams that kind of been both struggling. The Saints have a good defense, and I expect it to be a lower scoring game, but they popped the top on this one.
Yeah, the final score was the Cardinals 42, the Saints 34.
Yeah, that's a lot. And with Kamara, I mean, it was nice to see him get 9 targets, 7 catches, but it couldn't really get him going as the game went on. They probably wanted to use him a little more, but they just weren't able to, man, having to play catch-up.
Did 2 of those picks go for touchdowns, or was a fumble a touchdown? One pick. I know one pick was returned because everyone's all hooing and hawing about the jump into the end zone.
Mm-hmm.
What was the other defensive touchdown?
Pick 6.
2?
Off a deflection. Yeah.
2?
Yes, sir.
Because I looked at the box score. I'm looking at the box score at the Cardinals. Kyler, 204 yards passing, a touchdown. Eno got into the end zone, 92 yards rushing. Keontae Ingram had a touchdown.
He looked good,
and
too.
Greg Dortch.
Hmm.
And I did the math. That's 28 points there.
Yes.
But now that I know they had 2 defensive touchdowns, I mean, you know, these teams are kind of in the same boat. You know, I guess they had promising, you know, outlooks on the season, but both have been very disappointing. Both have a lot of question marks. I guess the redeeming quality for the Cardinals is they got DeAndre Hopkins back.
Yeah.
And he looks like his dreads have grown.
He does, man. He does look like he's aged a bit, which is true. Missed the first 6 weeks. He's back. He got them 14 targets. He looks like DeAndre Hopkins, and that could be big for them moving forward, especially after losing Hollywood Brown.
At the end of the day, these teams, do you have any hope for either team turning it around and going on a little streak? I think I have more hope in the Saints.
Really?
Than the Cardinals.
I don't know if I have as much hope in the Saints as you do.
Maybe not more confidence that the Saints can turn it around than the Cardinals.
That's a tough question for me because the Saints, man, the reason that they would be able to turn it around is like the way their defense starts performing better, but they just gave up 42 points to the Cardinals, and if their defense is not good, then there's no way they're gonna turn it around. I feel like haven't been able to get Kamara going. I mean, Andy Dalton is Andy Dalton, but I guess if Jameis comes back, he's healthy. I mean, he's definitely he gives them a better chance. They have a lot of O-line injuries. Chris Olave's been magnificent.
I really like Chris Olave.
Yeah.
I think he's he might be a front runner for Rookie of the Year.
Hey, come on, man.
Well, we'll get to a little sad story later on, but Chris Olave is a promising young man. It's good to see Eno Benjamin as well.
Ooh, you gotta love that guy, man.
You know what Eno is short for?
Enoch.
Yes.
Really?
No, that's what I was gonna say. I'm surprised you picked that little story.
I like him, man. It seems like he's really progressed and gotten better since he was a 7th-round pick out of Arizona State. And to him to finally get, like, his chance. 12 carries, 92 yards, a touchdown. He had 4 catches. I like Eno, man. He seems to be a pretty solid running back in the NFL.
I don't stink, but I'll shower. Let's go to the next game. Ooh, this one was a very surprising one to me. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers 3. The Carolina Panthers 21. Who would have thunk it, Luke? Who would have even imagined?
Yeah, I mean that's one of the biggest ones of the week, man. I mean Carolina just fired their coach. They got PJ, Pooh, James, Walker starting at quarterback.
They lost. They traded Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, Robbie Anderson traded. They've been horrible. I mean, they won one game coming into this week against the Saints. And Tampa Bay, this seemed like a get-right game. This seemed like the game where they're going to come out, they're going to drop 42, and they're going to win pretty easily. But shout out to the Panthers, man.
Is it shout out to the Panthers or Tom Booty?
I'm gonna go with Antonio Brown on this one and say Tom Booty.
I mean, you watched it more than me. We talked about it prior to the podcast, and you seem to insinuate that the undoing of the Buccaneers is all on Tom Booty's shoulders. Can you confirm that comment, Luke?
I didn't say all of it, but he hasn't played good. I mean, even looking at his stat line, 290 yards passing, 32 of 49.
That's not bad, though.
It's not bad, but most of that came when they were down, 14-3, and it wasn't.
Mike Evans had a big drop too.
He did. I understand. I mean, penalties were a big problem too. Bad throws. I mean, there was just, if you watched the game, you would just be like, yeah, it was a bad. Tom Brady had a bad game. I mean, even with the drops and the penalties, it was just, he's not the same guy. Like, you can tell that the team is struggling. They're sloppy. And it's not just Tom, though. It's a lot of the O-line injuries, tight end injuries, receiver injuries. But it's also on Brady as well. Even if he's not getting protected as well, he's not making great throws either.
You got the kiss of death.
I do?
Tom.
What does that mean?
The divorce papers have been served.
What happened?
He's got a lot on his mind, man. I'm not going to bet against him.
Why?
I still think the Bucks can turn it around. This happens every year. There's an overreaction early on in the season. They go on a run. They're fine. They make it to the playoffs. They make a Super Bowl run. That's what I'm picturing is going to happen. I'm not. Everyone else. This is what happens, dude.
But see, this is where
overreaction.
No.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Oh, Tom's playing Thursday. Throws for 340, 3 touchdowns against the Ravens. We're back happy again.
But why is it an overreaction if they just lost to the Panthers? A 1-5 team just fired their coach, just lost their star player, starting their third string quarterback, and they scored 3 points. That's not an overreaction. There's an issue. There's something wrong there, definitely.
Okay, so they lost to Carolina, but if they beat the Ravens, what's the narrative like?
If they beat them, I mean, yeah. I mean, it's like, okay, maybe they'll find something. But I'm not looking at Tampa Bay like to me, I don't think they can beat Baltimore.
I think they can.
Because, man, I mean, we've been looking at matchups week in and week out. Tampa's been favored. They go into Carolina and they do this. I mean, yeah, there's always that, bounce back. Oh, they play better this week. But I don't know. They don't look like a team that can come in there and beat Baltimore on Thursday. Like, is the short week beneficial, or does that hurt Tampa Bay, you think?
It's a good question. I think it's good for them to get the Panthers game like out of their mind, focus on the Ravens immediately. They got to play Thursday. I think it'll be a bounce back game for Brady and company. Speaking of company, let's talk about that company. Rachaad White, 24 yards rushing. Leonard Fournette only had 19. Mike Evans had a healthy dosage of targets with 15, 9 catches, 96 yards. Chris Godwin had 13 targets, 7 catches, 43 yards. And Cade Otton, 4 catches, 64 yards. I think it's time, Luke. It's time. Rachaad White, starting running back for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. New blood, new face, can do it all. Little rejuvenation. Maybe Lenny's getting a little stale.
I think that's a overreaction. I think Leonard Fournette was one of the more disappointing Buccaneers against Carolina this Sunday. I'm not going to lie, only having 19 yards. But a lot of that has to do with the play calling, the offensive line. And, Leonard Fournette, he's been really good this year for him. He's been able to catch. He's been pretty good on the ground. But I just like how well they complement each other as, kind of like Leonard Fournette's the heavy hitter. Rachaad, can do the screens. He can pass block. And I just like the idea of using both. But maybe there will be a time where Rachaad White takes over. But as of right now, I think you got to roll with Leonard.
All right, let's go to the other side. Let's look at some positives. PJ Walk. PJ walk this way.
Yeah, he had a pretty solid showing. They already gave him the starting job for week 9.
Yeah, 100 week 8.
Yeah.
177 yards, 2 touchdowns for PJ Walk this way. Deontay Foreman, 118 yards on 15 carries. Chuba Hubbard, 9 carries, 63 yards and a touchdown. Yo, DJ, spin that. DJ Moore, 7 catches, 69 yards and a touchdown. Luke, come on, let's hear that.
Finally, babe.
There it is, man. We've been waiting for DJ to get off the schneid.
DJ, give me more.
We even got a Terrace Marshall sighting. It was very early in the game, and I was very surprised to see his name pop up. But it's good to see Tommy Trimble got a touchdown. It's just a surprising outcome, but it's good to see, the Panthers win a game after basically, looking like they're giving up on, life in general.
Yeah, the most surprising thing for me with Carolina was the rushing game. The first game without McCaffrey, you go dual. You go Foreman and Hubbard. They both average 7 yards a carry against a usually really stout Tampa defense. It almost seems like they kind of gave up. They stopped trying in this game. We saw Foreman drop some, a 60-yard run, and they just kind of beat him up. And unexpected, I don't think we kind of came into this week thinking the running game against Tampa would be a big reason that they take down Tampa Bay, but that's what happened.
If you hear me before you see me, I got King Kong in the trunk. Let's go to the next game, Luke.
Is this something for Carolina, or is this just one of them games?
No, it's nothing for Carolina. Don't get your hopes up. I think the Buccaneers just really are struggling to find out who they are. And, I think Tom Brady's going through it, man, honestly.
Is this good for DJ Moore moving forward? Does this mean something for him?
No.
Okay.
Do you think so? You think PJ Walker's the answer?
No, I don't. No.
What about, for the backfield, are you interested in fantasy for either of them boys?
Maybe in like 12, 14 teamers. They're definitely worth rostering, I think.
I think Chuba's a little banged up.
Mild ankle sprain. So Foreman might be interesting pickup if he's available.
He's got little ankles, huh?
Who did?
Chuba,
Hmm. Yeah.
but a big head. Let's go to the next game, Bub.
Sure, I'd love to, man.
Yo, I got a barn burning.
You did?
No, it's a stink one. The Dallas Cowboys 24, the Detroit Lions 6. DeAndre Swift was out this game. Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think he played one possession, caught one pass, and he went to the dreaded blue tent.
It is.
I think they should take away the blue tent and make it a red tent.
Why?
Red is the color of blood and misery. Or the black tent for death.
What is blue typically?
Usually blue is pretty welcoming color, in my opinion, so I think I sent in a letter to change the color.
I do know that if you have an interview, it's important to wear like a navy blue
You know why, right?
polo.
You know why?
Confidence?
Confidence and comforting.
Comfort.
Calming.
Maybe that's why it's blue then. So maybe, some calming nerves instead of going into a red tent with a high ankle. You're like, man, I'm doomed.
One time I wore a red polo to an interview and they hired me and fired me in the same interview.
Oh, man.
They said it was too much power going on, too much power struggle.
I could see that, man. They call you Mr. Red Hot.
As for the Lions, Jared Goff, 228 yards, 2 picks. Jamal Williams, 15 carries, 79 yards. Khalif Raymond, 5 catches, 75 yards. Hawkinson, 4 catches, 48 yards. Who is this B. Wright guy?
Notre Dame. Didn't play very much in college, but he's out here looking generational.
Is he a Caucasian?
Not sure.
Should I look at a picture?
Yeah, I guess if you want to be surprised or let down.
He is Caucasian from what I'm looking at.
Okay.
But that's just, I cannot confirm and validate that. That's just by looking at him.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how he identifies.
Yeah, you don't want to misgender him.
But the Lions, I mean, I think the biggest topic to talk about for the Lions is the injuries. DeAndre Swift, is he glass bone, Anthony Davis type, baby boy, small shoulders, little leg kind of guy?
No, I don't think so. I think, man, with Swift, I think these injuries kind of get overblown. I think the Detroit Lions kind of pamper them. I don't think it's necessarily a Swift problem. I think if this was a team that really needed Swift, say like the Chiefs or a team like that really needed a guy like that, they would be, rushing to get him back. Even if he's 80, 90%, he's out there playing. But I think for Detroit, he's almost like a prized possession. He's almost like this is our running back of the future. We're a rebuilding team. We have guys like Jamal Williams and Craig Reynolds who can just handle the load just fine. And I think they're playing it smart. They're looking at the long term with DeAndre Swift rather than the short.
My thing is they're coming off a bye.
Yeah.
So he's been out 2 weeks prior to that, correct?
Yes.
That's not good. That's not a good look.
That's 4 weeks with the hamstring, man. He'll be back.
All right, man. I'm trusting you on this one.
So he's one of the better guys in the league, man. It's overall weapons, Swift is at the top of that list.
What's the opposite of a cow?
Probably a beetle.
Beetle girls. The Cowboys.
Oh, I see.
So, you see what I was doing there?
I'm not sure about it.
Dak Prescott, first game back. Oh, it's 436. Stink. 207 yards, a touchdown. Tony P, baby, TP. You need it for your BB.
I liked how you looked at your wrist when you said 436, like you had a watch on.
Is there not nothing on there?
You ain't got no watch on, man.
Hey, TP for TP. 12 carries, 83 yards. Hey, it's Zeke. He had almost a torn ACL injury with his knee, but his foot wasn't planted. 15 carries, 57 yards, plotted for 2 big touchdowns. Yo, CD.
More like PP.
Yo, CD still listens to CDs. 4 catches, 70 yards. Nigel Brown, hind parts.
Noah.
No, is there a Nigel Brown?
There might be somewhere out there in the world.
5 catches, 50 yards. Dalton Schultz finally showed up again. 5 catches, 49 yards. I mean, the Cowboys keep winning. Dak didn't look particularly good. Kind of like you expect. Dak replaced Cooper Rush. You expect to see your star quarterback come out and kind of light the world on fire against this subpar defense, but maybe Dak just isn't that good.
I agree with that latter half, but I also think he'll be better. I mean, he's coming off a thumb injury. I think it's continuing to heal, not 100%. But yeah, I mean, you look at 207 yards and a touchdown, you think, man, this was smash, but didn't commit turnovers. He's still healing. You just gotta wait a little bit.
Yeah, and Tony Pollard looks like he's churning.
TP, man.
He's warming up. Zeke got in on a couple goal line carries because the wide receivers don't have the the gonads to push through that last tackle to get in the end zone. But I expect nothing less from the Beetle Girls.
I say their defense has been pretty good.
That is a very good point, and maybe I'm being a little too harsh on them.
Yeah, I mean, they keep winning games. They held the Lions to 6 points. I mean, this was a lot closer game than 24-6. The fourth quarter, it was 10-6. They had a chance to take the lead in the fourth quarter, Detroit, but they got stopped on a fourth down. So a lot closer than we think. Dallas defense kind of took over, causing a couple turnovers. And are the Cowboys defense legit?
Yes.
Are they the reason they have a chance to win the NFC East?
Yes. Their offense hasn't done very much actually in any game this year. I think the reason the Cowboys are in this position is because of their defense. With Micah Parsons, Trevon Diggs, they're just playing good well as a unit. And I think that what's his name? Their coach, defensive coordinator,
Dan Quinn.
Yes, he will be a head coach very, very soon. Next year.
Yeah, I think he deserves a chance.
Why is a beetle the opposite of a cow?
Little and stinky.
What about ground beef?
That is a cow.
Touché.
What about a El Pescado?
Fish?
Yeah.
That's probably more opposite than a beetle, because a beetle got 4 legs, I think. 6 legs, something like that.
They're insecticides.
Have you ever seen a beetle roll dung?
Video, not live, no.
I think we should take a trip and go find them and watch them for a couple hours and see.
What do you think you could learn from that?
Never give up. Even if your little ball of poop rolls back down, you go back down there and get it and you roll it back to where it needs to go. Where do you think they're pushing it to?
I don't know. Did they make their houses out of it?
I don't know, man, but that's a pretty, really poopy way to live.
We guess we'll have to go find them and find out.
You think you'll start doing your own?
Yeah.
You think you start rolling your own?
Yeah, I'll start rolling my own.
Dude, you don't know how happy that would make me.
That I'm rolling poop?
Yeah, like with the little beetle.
With them?
I thought that's what you meant. Like you were going to get down and start, hyping them up.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely encourage them.
What if they all, stood around and, cheering you on?
Probably ask them if they have any dude wipes for my hands.
Yeah, I don't think they would, but Luke, that's amazing, and I just want to say that, I don't think a lot of people have that in them
The
to get
ability.
down and dirty like
Oh,
that.
I see.
It's very unsanitary.
As long as they pay me,
It's not gonna happen.
then
I
I
think
ain't
their
gonna.
only currency is poop.
Then I ain't gonna do it.
All right, that's fine.
You gotta pay to play, man.
Let's go to the next game. Uh-oh. Vroom, vroom. Just warming up a little bit. The Cincinnati Bengals, 35. The Atlanta Falcons, 17. And this is a story of two teams. One with the arrow going down, the Falcons, and one with the arrow going up, the Bengals. Let's get into the numbers, though. Shall we, Luke?
You shall.
You read Roman numerals well?
Yeah.
All right, we'll get into it. 124 yards passing for Marcus Mariota with a touchdown. He only threw 13 times. Seems to be, a trend going on in Atlanta. Tyler Algier, 16 carries, 50 yards, and a touchdown. That's nice to see out of him. Demir Bird, 1 catch, 75 yards, and a touchdown. Let's go down the list. There's Kyle Pitts, 3 catches, 9 yards. Again, this is what we've come to understand about the Falcons. This is how they play the game. Run heavy. Marcus Mariota, very little throwing the ball.
Do you think the lack of passing attempts has to do with the quarterback?
I think this is Arthur Smith's dream. Is having a quarterback like Marcus Mariota that isn't going to complain about not throwing a lot and can use his legs. Because obviously it's been working for them. So I think Arthur Smith has a game plan going in, and they're executing it. But I think they're going to lose more than they win in this day and age. Especially going against a team like the Bengals, I think you have to mix it up. You have to know that you're going to have to put the ball in the air to keep up with these guys. So, but for me, I think Arthur Smith is stuck in his ways. I don't think he's a very, I don't think he's a chameleon. He's not going to move with the game. I think he has it set in. We're going to do this. It doesn't matter. We're not going to change anything. Let's go and get it. Let's get that dub. Let's get that L. Hold this L.
Yeah, I think that's going to become a problem.
Yeah, very soon. And
You know the system Arthur Smith was in prior to coming into Atlanta.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Go ahead.
The Tennessee Titans.
Oh gosh, it explains everything.
Who was their MO for the Tennessee Titans? Ground and pound. Derrick Henry gets 30 carries. We're limiting the passing attempts as much as we can. And he seemed to carry that over to Atlanta. It's worked out so far. But if you can't change your ways, you can't adapt. You can't look at the score. Joe Burrow is throwing for 320 yards at halftime. We're down by a couple scores, and you're going to still come out here and decide to run the ball in the second half, only attempt 13 pass attempts. You're going to lose the game. And that's what ultimately happened. I'm not sure why it is that way. I'm not sure if it's because maybe he doesn't trust Mariota or he's just a bad coach.
Tyler Algier equal to Derrick Henry?
No.
Let's agree to disagree.
Tyler Algier started himself in fantasy this week, and he scored. Had 50 yards rushing.
Literally staying away from every Falcon with the 10-foot pole in fantasy. No Drake London, no Kyle Pitts. Algier's touchdown dependent. Marcus Mariota, if you have issues with mental health.
Yeah, no Falcons for me either, which is a horrible thing to say when your last 2 first-round picks are a receiver and a tight end, both top 10 picks, and they're not even startable in fantasy, not even making an impact in the game is just sickening. I think his reasoning is Kyle Pitts and Drake London have such a good impact in the running game because of their blocking ability.
Come on, man. That's a piss poor excuse.
That sounds like a guy who deserves to eat rodent stew 3 times a week.
I agree, man. Rodent stew in some places is a delicacy, so some people will actually really appreciate that soup.
Yeah, but rodent stew, but you have a little extra rodent.
You leave the tail end.
Yeah.
That's disturbed. That's like a little ramen noodle.
Yeah, and you just chop it up.
Let's go to the Bengals, who are quite the opposite of the Atlanta Falcons, quite literally. Joe Burrow threw 42 times for 481 big ones. 3 touchdowns. Joe Mixon, hey, he got his work in. 17 carries, 58 yards, a touchdown. Hey, Joe, run it in. Rushing touchdown for Joe Burrow. Tyler, big man, Boyd, 8 catches, 155 yards, and a touchdown. Jamar, chase me if you can, because I'm going to make it to the zone. 8 catches, 130 yards, 2 touchdowns. Hey, don't forget about the Robin to my Batman. T. Higgins, 5 catches, 93 yards. The list goes on and on. He spread the ball around the yard. This is the Bengals we know and love. This is the Bengals that made that Super Bowl run. This is the cardiac arrested Cats.
Yeah, I mean, this was their showing out game. This is the team that we've been waiting for. We see Joe Burrow. They didn't take their foot off the gas really either. They didn't really get too conservative even with the lead. They were just torching them. I know A.J. Terrell, the Falcons corner, went out of the game early.
Blue tent.
You know, they saw him go in that blue tent and they said, hey, we're turning it up a notch. Tyler Boyd isn't usually this type of guy when Chase and T. Higgins are playing. But he said, move over because I'm out here. Took exception to the rule. Had a 60-yard bomb. And then he almost had a second touchdown but was tackled at the 1. Later, Joe Burrow ran it in. But, man, what a big game for these boys. Chase, Boyd, Burrow.
Is Tyler Boyd a good flex option
Yes.
every week?
Yes.
Yeah, I think I agree with that statement because it's looking like the Bengals are finally, all these we drafted all the Bengals really high expecting this, and it's starting to pay off, which you can't say for a lot of things in fantasy because fantasy football is dark place to live. You got to come up for air every now and again, and it's nice to have this kind of air,
Yeah, man. Fantasy football is like watching a horror movie in a movie theater. Because in a movie theater, you pay for these tickets, you spent good money on it, so you have to watch it. You have to watch it on the big screen. There's no hiding. You can cover your eyes at certain scenes. And for the movie itself, there's moments in horror movies where you're glad that you're not scared. You're glad there's not fear. It's a slow part of the film. Just a lot of, verbal, he's looking around the house. But then there's those scary moments as well, that get you frightened, that make you tear up, that make you cover it up. And that's fantasy, man, because it's a horror movie. At the end, hopefully there's a good outcome, but it's a battle all the way through the film and you and your emotions. And, yeah.
Let me ask you a real question, Luke. Have you ever covered your eyes at a scary movie in a movie theater?
Yes.
I want to say another thing. I want to add something to how scary it is to see a scary movie in the theater.
It's different.
The volume.
Yeah.
Because with that jump scare, there's a real loud bang or roar or some disturbing noise coming at you in all directions, and there's no hiding from that.
No.
That's why even if you cover your eyes in the theater, that noise is going to get you.
Yeah, definitely.
Shit, but that was a great analogy, Luke. I'm not even going to lie to you. That made me, really take a step back. And, that's very true. That fantasy football is a horror show.
Yeah.
That you're forced to watch because you paid for the tickets and the popcorn and stuff. So you're like, I can't really miss this. I can't sit in the bathroom.
Yeah, I guess the only thing you can really wish for is that the end is a good result. It's a good, maybe it's at least a good movie, it has a good story.
What is the last scary movie you've seen in the theater? Do you recall?
I forget the name of it, but it was about this researcher that he's kind of stuck out in the woods, and there's like a lot of these weird like holes in the tree, but it's like a spiritual thing, and it's like a spiritual being in the forest. And there's another researcher out there who's trying to figure out what it is, like putting lights and sounds to try to figure out what it was. And the two researchers end up finding each other, but the one that he finds out there is like brainwashed because of this entity kind of got it to like work for her and like do her work or its work. And then the guy realizes that and he has to escape from it. And
I wish you knew the name.
I wish I could describe it better.
Do you see the entity, or is it just the forest is haunted, or the trees, or something?
Well, it's like it's an entity, but then I do think it takes shape of something.
Is it scary?
And like, there's like the hole in this tree that it kind of like uses itself to.
I've never heard of this, but that sounds very creepy.
It was scary, man.
How long ago was this?
2 years ago.
Mm.
And not only that, it was a loud movie because it was like lights and sounds integrated into like the research. So it was like a whole bunch of strobe lighting, a whole bunch of just loud noises, and it was it gives you that feeling in your chest when you have the loud noises and the lights, and it's it's hard to continue to watch. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but it does give you an adrenaline rush. However, yeah, and I guess that's like fantasy football too. When you're winning,
Mm-hmm.
you make it out of the other side unscathed. You get that feeling of accomplishment and adrenaline rush. You're like, man, I won this week. Maybe things are looking up.
Yeah. It gives you that unhealthy, heart race.
It gives you that unhealthy pride that is crushed the next week.
That too. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was good. That was good, Luke. And thank you for sharing your experiences.
What was the last movie you've seen in the theater, if I may ask?
It was pretty recent. It was scary. I wouldn't say it was a horror movie, maybe a suspense, but it was called Barbarian.
Oh yeah, you told me about
It
it.
was about the weird lady underneath the house, and I had to cover my eyes a couple times because I didn't want to see that lady, but it was intense, and I enjoyed the movie. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it sounded very interesting, disturbing,
But as a kid, I used to think about the movie after the movie, but as I've grown older, I have good coping mechanisms to not think about it at night, and I think that's helped a lot.
what was like this all-time scary movie for you growing up?
Paranormal Activity, 110%.
Really? The first one?
And Boogeyman. It was the first scary movie I ever saw in theaters with a group of friends, because that's like a thing you do as a young person. You go see scary movies, and I did not know how to not get it out of my mind at night, and I would just think about it. Paranormal is just something I don't think anyone should watch, because that's messed up.
Was there like a certain scene or character that you remember from that film, or is it just like the activity that you saw in there
I think the scariest part was when they put the flower down on the floor and you see like the hoof prints and walking in the room, and then the lady gets possessed and she's standing and watching her husband while he sleeps and she's not moving. It's very scary to me.
Yeah, that movie
The
was
hoofs,
crazy.
the hoof part was just very disturbed, because I'm like, what is that ain't normal.
Yeah.
Why does it have hooves? It's a demon, you know?
Yeah, no, I agree. I remember watching that film and feeling the same way. It's very unnerving.
Yeah, I hope they never come out with any more paranormal stuff like
They
that.
have about like 6 of them now.
I've seen about 3 or 4, and that's where I started to draw the line.
You know what movie for me kind of made me feel that way? Strangers.
You know that's based on a true story?
Is it actually?
Yeah.
That makes it even way worse.
Yeah, no, that's why that movie... I didn't watch it until a few years ago. But it's a really good movie. But
It's good, man, because it's two newlyweds. They're kind of going on a retreat out in the middle of like nowhere, have a little house.
is it California?
I think so.
Yeah, that really happened. Those people were real people.
Dude,
They never found them.
really?
Never found them.
Because I know they eventually, got him, but man, just like the jump scares of them like outside the window and that one mask.
And when they get in the house, it's scary.
The one white mask is the guy that ruined it for me. And one of my biggest fears, to be honest with y'all, is like home invasion. So it was like the whole home invasion to go along with like being out in the middle of nowhere and like knowing that there's like 4, 5, 6 people trying to get in and kill you. Like that's
Yeah.
a horrible fear of mine.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even imagine. But another fear of mine is watching AFC South games. The
It's a good one,
Colts
dude.
and the Titans. The Titans win 19-10. Matt Ryan has taken his last snap as the starting quarterback for the Colts. True or false?
True. I think it's also true that it's his last snap in the NFL.
Ooh, one up me. I like that because he, he had 243 yards, a touchdown, 2 picks. I guess, they've seen enough, man. Their new toy is, not working out for them. It's happening everywhere in the NFL, actually. They're the first team to actually really pull that plug.
I think it's interesting, though, that they chose Sam Ellinger over Nick Foles. 'Cause Nick Foles has proven he's been there, done that. Ellinger hasn't taken a snap yet. But it's cool that he's getting a chance, but just interesting.
I'm actually very excited to see Sam Ellinger and like what kind of quarterback he is. He was good in the preseason, I remember.
Yeah.
Um,
He kind of has that, Justin Herbert frame. He can move. He's got a big arm, big
he reminds
body.
me of Tebow, like built like Tebow. Like he's huge.
Yeah, like Herbert, 6'5", probably 240.
There's no way he's 6'5".
He's not that big.
No, I think he's
Oh.
like barely 6 foot.
Sam Ellinger?
Maybe 6'2". I don't know. Not
Oh
6'5".
man, I'm interested now. Go ahead though. You can.
It's good to see. He went to UT as well, which is cool.
Yeah.
But he reminds me of Tebow. I don't know. We'll see.
You don't think he's gonna be good at throwing?
We'll see. I have no idea. Jonathan Taylor, 10 carries, 58 yards. What is it?
6'1", 222.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
6th round pick, 24 years old. Hasn't thrown a pass.
Preseason. Paris Campbell, 12 targets, 10 catches, 70 yards, and a touchdown. Michael Pittman, 9 targets, 6 catches, 58 yards. Luke, with Sam Ellinger taking over, Paris Campbell, is he still a hot commodity off the waiver wire?
Yeah, I think he is. I think anytime you have like a QB change, you have to take that risk, and maybe Paris Campbell becomes his favorite target. We don't know who Sam Ellinger is gonna like to throw to. I mean, we're all gonna assume it's Pittman or Pierce or whatever, but just seeing what Paris Campbell did last week with 10 catches, 70 yards, and a touchdown, that's big points. And just based off that alone, I think he's a waiver guy. And then also the chance that he becomes Ellinger's favorite target is another reason why I believe he should be picked up.
As a Pittman owner, or do you have some reservations about Sam Ellinger being the starting quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts?
Yeah, I think you have to be a little bit. But I mean, even Matt Ryan, though, hasn't been very good. He hasn't really done too much good for Pittman outside of like the first 2 weeks. But to me, I mean, Pittman's talented. He's big. And maybe that could be a good thing for Ellinger. But if Ellinger can perform better than Matt Ryan, I mean, it should be good for Pittman.
I think we might be surprised by his legs.
Yeah, definitely.
He was kind of like a bulldozer running style in college.
He was a runner in college. Yeah, definitely.
That intrigues me. Like, I'm very interested to see how he does in fantasy wise. And it might hurt Jonathan Taylor a little bit with the goal line vultures.
Yeah, I think so. We have to see Jonathan Taylor get right. Um, yeah, I'm definitely interested to see what we see out of Ellinger. That's definitely my biggest thing moving forward.
Let's go to the most boring team in the NFL.
All right.
The Ryan Tannehills. The
Why are they
Tennessee
not?
Titans.
Probably the Derrick Henrys.
Ryan Tannehill, 132 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Guy stinks. Derrick Henry, 30 carries, 128 yards. Ooh, he averaged only 4.3 yards a carry. Stinks. Austin Hooper, 3 catches, 56 yards. This stat sheet here, gross. Just absolutely putrid.
You know what's crazy, though, about all this?
What's that?
They won the game.
Yeah, 'cause of Randy Bullock.
They won the game, man. I mean, even with, the lack of stats, Derrick Henry getting 30 carries, credit to Mike Vrabel. I mean, for the team that stinks, honestly, their defense has been good, but it's a bad team, and they continue to win games. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, you couldn't put a lot of coaches out there and have them win games like this, and they continue to do it. Even last year before, and he knows what he's doing, I believe.
Randy Bullock for Tennessee Titans. They instead of giving out, they give out the real game ball, but they also give out a cake game ball. And the game ball went to Randy Bullock, and they couldn't find him, and he was already finished the cake game ball, and they handed him the real game ball.
By the looks of it, it looks like he gets the cake game ball every week.
The camera panned over to him, and he was huddled into the team shower with cake all over his face.
And he's got his
He's like, "Thanks,
cheeks
boys."
are real full because he's
Yeah.
got cake, a mouthful. Yeah, he's been good though, man. 4 for 4 on the kicks.
Yeah, he's a good player. The Tennessee AFC South is boring and shameful.
Can't trust anyone outside of Derrick Henry on that team, that's for sure.
That's very true. There's literally no one I won't even sniff Derrick Henry.
Even like Robert Woods, who I know a lot of people started this week thinking that he'd probably have a good game. I mean, you just can't. You don't know what's going to happen this week. They start like 5 different tight ends, and there's just not a lot there.
Derrick Henry, is he good or no?
Yeah.
I just like to
He's been good all year. He's even catching more passes than in years past. So he's might even finish even better in fantasy.
All right, let's go to our next game, the AFC North matchup. The Cleveland Browns 20, the Baltimore Ravens 23. This is an old-fashioned AFC North matchup. Big game. These teams do not like each other. Jacoby Brissett, 258 yards, no picks, no touchdowns. Nick Chubb, 16 for 91 and a touchdown. Little Kareem Hunt snuck in 1 touchdown. Ooh, you hear that? The phone's ringing a lot. People are calling about Kareem Hunt, Lou. He's on the trade block, brother. Is it music to your ears, or you want him to stay put with those Brownie Bears?
Nah, man, I think that's music to the ears, because we want to see Kareem Hunt thrive. We want to see Nick Chubb thrive. And even Dearness Johnson. I mean, he's more than capable backup, pretty talented, but, I mean, shoot, man, free Kareem Hunt, get him back on as a workhorse back like we saw in Kansas City, and he's a great buy low. If you can get him before he gets traded to the Chiefs or the Bills.
Quiet.
Then what happens? Then you got a top 5 running back, and you're out here looking like Dan Quinn on offense.
No, I think I'm on the opposite spectrum. I think you should trade him.
Why?
Because
why?
Because some people need running backs.
Oh, that's for you personal?
Hey, come on, man. Don't get too juicy on it. Don't
Nah,
tell
man.
too much detail.
He's a buy low. You go get him. Or, shoot, if you get the news send out an offer before someone else finds out about it.
Amari Cooper, 3 catches, 74 yards. David Njoku, 7 catches, 71 yards. Looks like he's out 2 to 5 weeks. You know what that means?
5 weeks.
2 to 5. If you're looking for a tight end stream, man, Harrison Bryant. We've seen him have some fantasy success before, but now is his time to shine again, and I like that pickup, man. Donovan Peoples-Jones had 6 catches, 71 yards. I think they're just counting down the days, crossing off the days on the calendar until they get, Deshaun Watson back.
Yeah, and I think this was Baltimore's 10-year anniversary.
I'm sorry?
This was their 10-year anniversary since they won the Super Bowl. They brought out Ray Lewis. They brought out Terrell Suggs, T-Sizzle, to do the introduction, and that fueled them to win by 3 points. So not only were the Browns playing against the current-day Ravens, but also the energy of the Super Bowl winning team with Ray Lewis. And this was a close game, man, and we thought Lamar Jackson was going to come out here, get out of his slump. That didn't happen, but they were able to prevail thanks to an old friend.
Can you say that
Gus Edwards.
Gus Bus is back, boys. But can you say that word again? What did the Ravens do? What were they celebrating?
The 10-year anniversary.
Why do you keep saying it like that? I keep waiting for you to say the right word, but you keep saying anniversary. What is it? Anniversary?
Anniversary?
Yeah, there we go.
What have I been saying?
Anniversary.
Anniversary?
Yeah. For three times.
Dude, I don't know, dude. I'm built like a truck.
You already know University. Lamar Jackson, 120 yards passing. Gus Bus, good to have you back, man. You picked up right where you left off. 66 yards rushing. 2 touchdowns. Lamar Jackson added 59 yards on the ground. Justice Hill almost coughed up the game with a fumble, but he had 26 yards. Rashad Bateman was back. 4 catches, 42 yards. Duvernay, 2 catches, 42 yards. Mark Andrews, gooseneck.
He had more rushing yards than receiving yards in this game.
He only had 2 targets. I think he's injured.
He's definitely injured, not 100%. They only threw the ball 16 times. I mean, it looks like they're kind of getting back to what they've known before. Was that run. And, it worked this week, but, you don't see this a lot of times with Mark Andrews having 0 catches. But he was still impactful. He had, some offensive or some pass interference, some holding calls called on him. And then a 4th yard. He actually had a QB sneak on a 4th down.
Where college did Terrell Suggs go to?
Maryland.
I think he went to Arizona State.
He did.
But he also went to Yardy Schno University.
Is that in Portland?
That's a great question. I don't know where it's located.
Why wasn't Ray Rice there?
Ray Rice is in prison system.
He is?
No, I think he's doing well for himself.
Okay.
Let's go to a game that's
Another
also
one?
a pretty shocking result. The Green Bay Packers 21 fall to the Washington Commanders, who scored 23 points. Oh, we got a problem in Green Bay, Luke. They stink.
Mm-hmm.
And they can't seem to figure out what the problem is. Let me tell you what the problem is. It's right in front of you. You see that guy with big quads? Yeah,
Yes.
some may call him Quadzilla. Give him the ball. Get out of the way. Don't need to block for him. Let him go. I'm talking 15 carries a game. You're giving him eight. We're talking about AJ Dillon. Yeah, we all know Aaron Jones is the better talent on the team, the better running back. Yes, that's beautiful. But you gotta have some sugar and spice. You gotta have some sweet with the sour. You hearing me?
Yeah.
And giving AJ Dillon 4 touches is unacceptable. But anyways, there's many more problems than that. Romeo Dobbs drops. Aaron Rodgers just doesn't seem to care. He's just doing interview after interview after interview. It's just problems all over the place in Green Bay, Lou.
Yeah, it was an ugly game. A lot of issues, like you said. I think Aaron Rodgers had 81 passing yards in the third quarter total throughout the game, and his thumb injury seems to be a problem. He's not able to have that zip, or can't grip the ball like he normally does. But I think the biggest question is, why haven't they gone out and traded for a great receiver?
It's a very great question. Let me go through the stats real quick. Aaron Rodgers, 194 yards, 2 touchdowns. Aaron Jones, 23 yards rushing. A.J. Dillon, 15 yards rushing. Allen Lazard, 6 catches, 55 yards. Aaron Jones, 9 catches, 53 yards, 2 touchdowns. Maybe it's because the Packers are owned by fans.
I'm sure the fans would want him to trade for somebody, right?
Yes.
Because, I mean, dude, Allen Lazard, he is what he is. I think he's hurt now, though. Might be out a few weeks. Aaron Jones had to get 10 targets. Sammy Watkins stinks. Romeo Dobbs isn't good at football.
Oh, man.
So, go out and get someone, man. DJ Moore, Chase Claypool, Jerry Jeudy. Go trade for 2 of those guys. Who cares anymore, man? You stink. You can't run the ball. Can't throw the ball. You can't do nothing, man. You just lost to Washington.
What if they traded for Jerry Jeudy, Chase Claypool, and Elijah Moore?
That'd be a pretty good idea.
Would you be happy?
Yeah, I'd be thrilled. Wouldn't you, if you were a Green Bay fan?
But from the outside looking in, not a Green Bay fan.
Would I be thrilled? For who?
Jerry?
No.
Elijah?
Yeah, I'd like it for Elijah.
Chase
needs to go anywhere but the Steelers.
I agree.
So, yeah, it would be good for him, I think.
Let's go to Luke's favorite quarterback. Taylor Heineke. 201 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, a pick. Yo, Bulletproof Brian, 20 carries, 73 yards. Hey, I'm not going anywhere. Antonio Gibson, 10 carries, 59 yards. Receiving end. Terry McLaurin, Scary Terry, 5 catches, 73 yards, and a touchdown. They love each other. Curtis Samuel, 5 catches, 53 yards. Antonio Gibson got in through the air as well. Heineke is just a winner, and he's better than Carson Wentz, and it makes me glad for the fans that Heineke is their quarterback now for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, I mean, his final numbers were pretty good. He threw a pick 6 early on. He struggled, was actually really, really bad. But it's Taylor Heineke, man. I mean, he's clutch. As the time's going down, he was able to convert on some big third downs. And, speaking of McLaurin, man, there's not a duo in the league that love each other like these guys. He's one of those guys that, closes his eyes and he says, F it, McLaurin's down there somewhere. And he lets it go, man. And McLaurin is that type of guy. He's a very good contested catch guy. And it's not surprising, He's a functional player. Now with Carson Wentz injured, And much better things to come, I think, for McLaurin and fantasy with Heineke.
Yeah, I think he makes everyone relevant on this team in fantasy, even Curtis Samuel.
Even the running back. Shoot.
Even the running back, man. So, shout out to. I think I'm starting to come around on him.
Yeah, dude, he's about that life.
He's a better quarterback than Carson Wentz.
He's a dog. He takes the big hits, man. That's the guy you want. Brian Robinson handled most of the work, got some 20 carries, 73 yards. You know, even Antonio Gibson performed well. He had a receiving touchdown, 10 carries, 59 yards. Like I said, man, if you know how to use these guys together, it'll work.
I just took the walk to Poland. Let's go to the Giants and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Giants 23, Jaguars 17. Ooh, DJ Daniel Jones, man. 202 yards passing and a touchdown. Saquon, dang, I did not know that. 24 carries, 110 yards. Whoa, Danny Jones over the century mark in rushing, 107 yards on 11 carries and a touchdown. Darius Slayton, 3 catches, 58 yards and a touchdown. Wandell Robinson, day 1. 6 catches, 50 yards. He was targeted hyper amount. I think we all need to apologize to Daniel Jones.
Why?
Because his team is 6-1.
Was that Daniel Jones?
Who else would it be?
Everybody else.
Who's everybody else? Their defense?
Defense, run game.
You can't win games with a bad quarterback.
Is that true?
Give me an example.
Big Ben.
Big Ben wasn't 6-1. Was he?
Yeah.
When? Not last
2
year.
years ago.
2 years ago, yeah, but he was pretty good still.
Nah.
Is Daniel Jones a viable option in fantasy football?
Yeah. He's about 12, yeah.
12 ranked?
Yeah, he's probably in that 12 range. He's probably a 12-team starter, yeah. I mean, dude, he had 100 yards rushing.
I really like the Wandell guy, though.
He's cool.
I think it's much needed considering, you know, Kadarius Toney is not a real person and Kenny Galladay, you know, works at Pluckers.
Yeah, man, I don't know what happened to Kenny Galladay.
Who knows? Jaguars.
It sounds like you're ready to move on.
No, you have that was really important. You had to say something.
It sounds like Judy is the favorite to land in New York.
He ain't gonna last
Why not?
because they don't take too kindly to drops.
Well, shoot, they've been dealing with Slayton and Marcus Johnson. He'll be just fine.
You're right.
Those guys drop more than, you know, Terry Lawton,
Who's that?
the doctor known for dropping babies when they were born.
Oh, I did not know that. That's very interesting.
Neither did I.
Jacksonville Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence, 310 yards passing.
What about Saquon?
What about him? I said his stats.
You don't have anything to say about him?
He does the same thing every week. He produces.
Okay.
He's real good at what he does.
Sounds good.
You got something you want to say?
Nah, he's just nice with it.
Yeah, he's nice on it. But let's go to the next Saquon. Travis Etienne. 14 carries, 114 yards, and a touchdown. I'm looking down the list. Oh, I don't see James Robinson. Do you?
Nope. Literally.
Oh, looks like he's in New York with the Jets. So Etienne's going to have a full workload. He's going to be a workhorse back. And he's really good, man. He's really good. He's explosive. Both in the run game and the passing game. It's amazing to see.
Yeah, he's definitely a weapon, man. They give him those. They're smart, man. They give him those big like pitches, get him in space. And he's always busting that long run. 49 yard, and it's just a matter of time where he's hitting some 60-yard touchdowns, and uh, they know how to use him, and he's a really good player, and it's exciting. Definitely exciting to see him get a full workload.
Christian Kirk, 7 catches, 96 yards. Evan Ingram, 4 catches, 67 yards. And the Jones brothers are about the same. Both had 4 catches and around 50 yards, you know what I mean? I feel like I had some. Oh, Trevor Lawrence had a rushing touchdown too, which tanked me in fantasy.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence kind of stunk. Daniel Jones definitely had the better performance of the two. Trevor Lawrence was a bit underwhelming, barely getting 50%. But I think Christian Kirk is, if you can still kind of buy low on him. I know he had a good week, but he's had some down performances before this. He's a really good buy low candidate in my eyes. I think Evan Ingram, he's been consistent. At those 6, 8, 10 fantasy points every week. He's kind of been a big part of this offense. He might be something to look at as well.
All right, that game's in the rearview mirror. Let's move forward to Sin City. The Houston Texans 20, the Las Vegas Raiders 38. Davis Mills, 302 yards passing, 2 touchdowns a pick. Damian Pierce, 20 carries, 92 yards. Ooh, I hadn't looked at this before. Jordan Akins, 3 catches, 68 yards. Dare Akajababi, 5 catches, 54 yards. Brandon Cooks, 4 catches, 46 yards. Dorsett got a pass-catching touchdown. Yo, is General Mills back, or are we still sleeping on the lumber?
I wouldn't say he's back, no. Raiders defense isn't that good. Texans were only able to put up 20 points. They had some, good drives that just ended in field goals in the second half of the game. But, no, I don't think, man, he's not that good.
The Raiders, Derek Carr, 241 yards, a touchdown. Whoa, Joshua Jacobs, 20 carries, 143 yards, not 1, not 2, but 3 rushing touchdowns. By golly, if I could go back in time, I'd draft him in fantasy. Devontae Adams, 8 catches, 95 yards. Mac Hollins, touchdown. Hunter Renfrow made an appearance. 3 catches, 55 yards.
How come we haven't seen Brandon Cooks have those Brandon Cook weeks yet this year?
I wish I could tell you, man. I don't think he wants to be there.
You don't think? You think finally?
I think he's actually given up.
Really?
Like, he hasn't had the Brandon Cooks game all year. I mean, I'm sure it'll come in the weeks to come, but I don't really know.
Why did he sign an extension? And then last year we were going to try to trade him, but he said he wanted to stay.
I don't know what's going on with Brandon Cooks.
Yeah, it's interesting, man.
It's disappointing, though.
Yeah. I was targeting him in drafts, but he just hadn't done much this year. And, Nico Collins has been pretty good. I know he left early, but he's, over the past 4 weeks, he's led the team in receiving.
Nico?
Yeah.
But that still isn't saying much.
No, it's not. But if Cooks gets traded, like you said, if you don't want to be there, then if Nico comes back from that injury and he's a number 1 target.
Yeah, on the opposite end of the spectrum, Josh Jacobs. It's kind of someone I think everyone treaded lightly on in the fantasy draft, but you could get him in the 7th, 8th, in the quote-unquote running back dead zone. And this guy is literally amazing. I mean, the guy's half man, half amazing, Luke. And I wish that was one thing in retrospect I wish I would have, struck gold with. but I didn't.
Yeah, we should have known better, man. Josh Jacobs isn't a dead zone running back. Looking at it, I mean, obviously now, but like going into it, like he's talented, first round pick. He's gonna be the workhorse. Um, Better weapons on the outside, gonna open up the run lane. Like we should have known better, you know. But he's been really good. Do you expect him to continue to be top 5 running back at the end of the year?
Yes. I expect nothing less. I think Josh McDaniel's seen it. We all seen it. We're all witnesses. Josh Jacobs is that guy, and he's going to continue. I mean, I'm sure he leads the league in rushing touchdowns. I mean, dude, he's had 5 in the last, at least 5 in the last 3 weeks. 2 against the Broncos, 3 here. I don't know what he did last week, but you think he had 2 last week?
I do.
He did?
I believe so.
Dude, this guy might be some kind of, overachiever.
Yeah, man.
Actually, the Raiders had a bye last week.
He's a touchdown machine.
Do you appreciate him for who he is?
Yeah, if you don't recall, I had him as my most underrated pure runner in the NFL.
On which episode?
We did most underrated and best pure runner, best overall. I believe in him, man. I've always liked Josh Jacobs, and it's nice that he's healthy and that he's showing his ability. I mean, dude, the way he can cut and his elusiveness
He's aggressive.
As a big back, it's very fun to watch. He's been phenomenal.
All right, let's go to the marquee matchup, or it was supposed to be. The Kansas City Chiefs stomp on the San Francisco 49ers 44-23. Oh, Patrick Mahomes doing Patrick Mahomes things. 423 yards, 3 touchdowns, a pick. Isaiah Pacheco, 8 carries, 43 yards. However, it was CH, Clyde Edwards-Helaire with the touchdown, and Mecole Hardman with 2 rushing touchdowns. And everyone got in on the action on the receiving end. Juju Smith-Poopoo, 7 catches, 124 yards, and a touchdown. MVS, 3 catches, 111 yards. Travis Kelce, 98 yards. And Mecole Hardman had a receiving touchdown. Boy, howdy, everyone got involved in that one, didn't they?
Yeah. Man, Mahomes was incredible. I think it's his, 8th time, 400 yards, 3 touchdowns. Just an exciting game. I mean, being down 10-0 early in the game to just come out, charge back, deep passes, third down conversions. They were just hitting, man. I mean, Juju was very reliable in this game. 45-yard touchdown, a lot of third downs. And I give credit to the offensive line in this game. The offensive line was awesome, especially against the Niners. They have a great front line, forced a lot of penalties, offsides, and just overall, Kansas City just kind of showed that they're a way better team, and they're better without Tyreek Hill.
Aside from getting, stomped on, San Francisco had a very beautiful debut from Christian McCaffrey. He had 8 carries for 38 yards and 2 catches for 24 yards. Jimmy G, 303 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, a pick. Jeff Wilson, 7 carries, 54 yards. George Kittle, 6 catches, 98 yards, a touchdown. Ayuk, 7 catches, 82 yards. And McLeod had a receiving touchdown. But I would be excited as a 49ers fan knowing that in the very near future, McCaffrey didn't play any third downs. But soon he will be playing every down. And he looked good in the limited amount of time that he did play. So that's exciting. Another element to their offense. To add to Debo, Ayuk, having Christian McCaffrey. It's gonna be nice in a couple weeks, Lou.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was a good game. It's just Jimmy Garoppolo's not able to play that catch up. Can't keep up with the shootout with Mahomes. He's just not that type of guy. Um, but I mean, overall, I mean, they had some good games. They were able to move the ball towards the end. Jimmy had a really bad interception. He kind of just threw it up in the end zone. Bad throw, but yeah, I mean, they have a lot of mouths to feed, a lot of really good players on offense. It's just Jimmy kind of caps this team. I think there's a limit to what Jimmy can do with this offense, I think, and but like you said, I think it's gonna be fun. It's gonna have a lot of big weeks in the upcoming weeks, and McCaffrey will definitely be a larger part of this offense moving forward.
Is Jimmy G still the most handsome man on the team?
I guess it depends on who you ask.
In your opinion?
I don't know.
You wanna plead the fifth?
Yeah, I'll plead the sixth.
I'm saying Christian McCaffrey greater than Jimmy G in terms of physical appearance.
Okay, I respect
Mic
it.
drop.
I respect that, man. I do.
Would you agree or disagree with that statement?
I wouldn't give an opinion on that.
What's wrong?
I don't really care either way, to be honest.
You could have said someone out of the blue too if you wanted to.
What about Brandon Ayuk
Yeah, you got me there.
or Javon Kinlaw?
Javon Kinlaw is a massive man.
That guy's built like a woolly mammoth.
He really is. That's actually a very good answer. I respect it, and thank you for answering the question. Let's go to the most disappointing, disgusting team in the NFL. The Denver Broncos versus the New York Jets. The Jets win 16-9. What's new? Zach Wilson, 121 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Brees Hall, oof. 4 carries, 72 yards, and a touchdown. However, he went down with a torn ACL, Luke. You hate to see that to one of the budding stars in the league. His 62-yard run was a thing of beauty. He turned on the Jets. We got to see it all there. It's just sad to see such a promising young talent season cut short. He might have broke some records. And that was the Jets offense that went down as well with that ACL injury. I think Zach Wilson, since he's been back, is averaging 115 yards passing per game. Which, Luke, you're not going to win like that. And I don't know what the Jets do now. And that's why I think they immediately went and traded for James Robinson to give him, some kind of, scapegoat.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think Brees Hall has been way better than I think we all expected. And he's more of an impact in real life. Like, yeah, it's fun to see him in fantasy and see what he, like the big runs and stuff, but the impact he has on the Jets offense allows you to let Zach Wilson only have to throw for 115 yards. I mean, they're 5-2? And just seeing Brees being unlocked, kind of the way the offense has been able to move the ball, the rush lanes, and you could tell in the second half of the game when Brees Hall was out, he didn't play. They kind of had to use Zach Wilson a little more. Their offense was horrible. Like, that wasn't a team that was 5-2. That was a team that hadn't won a game yet, and they saw that and they went out and they traded for an early down grinder that they can use to run the ball, like you said. And we'll have to see what Robinson can bring because they're going to have to use him a lot.
Do you think there's still hope for Zach Wilson?
I don't.
He just stinks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. I think, it's sad because Garrett Wilson, I think they should go back to Joe Flacco.
I agree.
And we want to see Garrett Wilson. We want to see Elijah Moore. We want to see all these guys because they're so talented. But Zach Wilson, is just focused on his looks, really, and it's a shame.
And other people's moms as well. He shouldn't get a pass for that.
It's a travesty. But let's go to the real travesty in the NFL. The Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
Russ Wilson is hurt. His ego's probably hurt. A lot of things are probably hurt. Brett Ripon gets the start. He threw for 225 yards and a pick. Melvin Gordon, 33 yards rushing. Latavius had a touchdown. Jerry Jeudy, 7 catches, 96 yards. Greg Dulcich, 6 catches, 51 yards. Cortland Sutton, our best wide receiver, 3 catches, 23 yards. It's the same old stuff, which leads me to believe one thing. I've come to a conclusion, Luke. It's Nathaniel Hackett. It's Nathaniel Hackett. Yes, there's blame on Russ. Yes, he had a backup quarterback this game, but it's just not working, man. They're not playing for him. His play calls aren't working. Nothing's working. It's time. I'm calling for his head here on a public platform. Fire Nathaniel Hackett. We lost this season. We got to regroup. We got to hire someone. And Russell's got to get better. But at the end of the day, I think it all boils down to Nathaniel Hackett. That's the number one X factor. That's the biggest factor in why we're struggling. It's the biggest factor why every day I wake up I regret being a Broncos fan. It's the biggest factor that I just hate to claim the Broncos as in the public eye. It's just a disgrace right now. And I know that everyone who's a Broncos fan feels this. And it's not a good feeling. And I think the only solace we can get out of it is if we don't finish the season with Nathaniel Hackett. And I think we'll still have hope in Russell if we do that. But, I don't have good things to say about the Broncos, and I don't think anyone does. So that's my little spiel. Thank you for listening. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that, man. I'm glad you're able to get that off your chest.
Man, that felt good. That was therapeutic.
Just going into this game, I would have liked to see Josh Johnson.
There we go.
I'm not sure if he's on the team. He might be on the practice squad, but I know he's 36 or 35. But I mean, Brett Ripon, whatever you want to call him, was horrible. He's not an NFL quarterback. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, he made some bad decisions. He made bad throws. Just looking back at it, there was a third down. KJ Hamler was wide open. Should have been a first down. He overthrew him. The pass was so bad that KJ Hamler shrugged because he thought it was going to a different receiver. Bad quarterback. I know going into it, there was a little bit of hope. Oh, we're getting Ripon. Maybe he'll be better than Russell Wilson. Huge mistake. I think Russell Wilson gives you a chance. Russell Wilson isn't that bad. I know he's been disappointing this year, but I have faith in Russell Wilson. I don't care. I may look dumb in the long run, but he's a good quarterback. He's a veteran. He understands the game. He knows he's struggling. But I'm anxious to see him come back. I really am. I hope he's healthy. He gives the Broncos a good chance, at least a chance. But like you said, this Broncos team is a good team overall. It's a good team. Their defense has been good. The running game hasn't been good, but they haven't been able to convert well in the red zone and on third downs. But I still think there's light for the Broncos.
With Nathaniel Hackett?
Without Nathaniel Hackett.
Okay, there you go. Sorry, I interrupted you. Keep going.
Yeah, it's without him, man. He's a bad coach. He doesn't deserve to be the head coach of the Broncos. They're too good of a team to have someone like that. And he wasn't ready. I'm not mad at him. I'm not going to blame him, but it was just a bad decision from the get-go. And his time in Denver is very short.
Pull the plug.
He's gone. He's not going to make it much longer.
All right, let's go. That was a very depressing and dark matchup, so let's go to a different one.
No, man, it's not. Greg Dulcich is the real deal. He was a good pick. He looks to be the tight end of the future. He's got some juice, and he looks like he loves to play football. And even with a bad quarterback, he had 6 catches, 51 yards, and he looks good. He's the real deal. He's fun to look at because he's good at football.
Okay. I thought you were starting to get into
I want to touch on Sauce Gardner.
Please.
He shut down the captain of the offense, Cortland Sutton. He did next to nothing.
Pass interference.
Three catches,
in the end zone.
23 yards. Stopped him on a third down. Pass deflection. And then on the game on the line, fourth down, throw it in the end zone. Knocked it out.
PI, look, his hand's in his collar.
But he did a darn good job. He did his thing.
Sauce is good.
He's good.
Sauce is good, very good. He's living up to his name and everything, and I shout out to him, man.
He's locked down, man. Can you tell me who leads the NFL in pass deflections?
Sauce.
He has 16, leading the NFL as a rookie. Don't throw at him.
He's very impressive, but on the other side, what about Patrick Surtain, another that bright spot in the Broncos?
Yes.
But we already know about that.
Top 5 cornerback in the NFL, if not number 1.
You don't throw at him neither.
He might be the best cornerback in the NFL.
He might be, man. Let's go to the Chargers and the Seahawks.
Speaking of another really good young cornerback, they have
Wooten? Woolen? What's his name? Wooten?
Tarek Woolen and Kobe Bryant
Oh, rest in peace.
was the cornerback tandem at Cincinnati with Sauce Gardner.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
Number 8. He had
Cincinnati.
himself a day against the Chargers.
Let's get into it. Yeah, I like the Woolen guy. He's tall and skinny and fast.
He ran like a 4.2.
I would have drafted him too.
He's about 6'4".
Yeah, I would guarantee I would have drafted him. Seahawks, Geno Smith. Man, he's writing someone back. 210 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Kenneth Walker III, 23 carries, 168 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He had a 74-yard one where he got up to 22 miles per hour, the fastest of any running back this year. Did not know he had wheels like that. He's good, man. I have to, digress on my hate for him. He's really good. And I hope he has a really good career, and it looks like he will. Marquise Goodwin, long jump Olympics. 4 catches, 67 yards, 2 touchdowns. Disley, 4 catches, 45 yards. DK Metcalf left the game, but it doesn't look like he's got some structural damage. Looks like he'll be all right. Tyler Lockett, 7 catches, 45 yards. Geno Smith is playing Pete Carroll's offense like it's supposed to be played, and they're winning games, which just tells me, it's the system. It's not the quarterback.
I tell you what, man, what Pete Carroll and John Schneider have done this offseason has been one of the best off seasons I've ever seen, turnover-wise. Because you go kind of stink last year, get rid of your quarterback, rebuild in one off season. Your draft was excellent. Charles Cross, Kenneth Walker, Tarek Woolen, Abraham Lucas, Kobe Bryant. All these players have been impactful players for them this year. One of the best drafts I've ever seen. And to come out here, be first in the NFC West, and actually playing really good football. Very watchable team. Very impressed. They've done an excellent job.
Yeah, it hurts me to say that, but yeah, they did a heck of a job. As far as the Chargers go, Justin Herbert threw it 51 times, 293 yards, 2 touchdowns, a pick. Austin Eckler, 9 carries, 31 yards, and a touchdown. Austin Eckler, 12 catches, 96 yards, and a touchdown.
God dang.
Mike Williams, 7 catches, 86 yards, and a touchdown, and a gruesome ankle injury. He'll be out a few weeks. He might go on the IR. Gerald Everett, 5 catches, 63 yards. Looks like Keenan didn't play in the second half. He didn't feel right.
That stinks.
He's an interesting character in terms of how he gets through injury, but the Seahawks are just a better coached team and disciplined, and they may not have the talent as the Chargers, but they're way better coached and way more disciplined.
Yeah, I mean, some big losses for the Chargers with Mike Williams and J.C. Jackson. Got the news that he's out for the year. Big loss. It's always the same, man. The Chargers always have that injury bug as the season goes on, and Keenan Allen's still not right yet. Um, but yeah, man, it's the Chargers. The AFC West has been one of the bigger, most disappointing, divisions
Sure.
in football. I mean, the Chiefs are doing their thing, but a lot of expectations for these teams. But the Chargers, man, they're just the Chargers. That's the way I look at it, man. They got blown out by the Seattle Seahawks. Even Herbert didn't get right in this game, which was a get-right game for him. And they're struggling a bit.
Yes, sir. It's just been a tumultuous, NFL season. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting who rights the ship. Which teams that we know have the talent and everything. Who's gonna right the ship? The Broncos, the Packers, the Buccaneers, the Chargers. Like who's going to? Who's gonna figure it out?
If you had to take a team that's gonna right the ship of the teams you just listed, who would you say?
Buccaneers, and I think they will. I have the most confidence in them.
Okay.
Who would you pick?
That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know.
You don't want to answer?
I don't really feel good about most of those teams.
You wouldn't pick Tampa Bay?
I don't think so.
All right, there's your answer, boys and girls.
Maybe the Packers?
Waiting all day. Oh, the Packers?
Maybe. If they do the right thing
That would be my second choice, is the Packers.
If they do the right thing at the trade deadline.
Because I trust those coaches more than I trust Staley and Nathaniel Hackett or whoever is going to fill in for Nathaniel Hackett,
Yeah, and they've dealt with injuries. If they get healthy, maybe get a receiver, they can figure it out.
I've been waiting all day for Sunday night. Sunday night football, the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Miami Dolphins. Dolphins come out on top, 16-10. I think it started out real crazy. We had scoring left and right, and then the second half literally very minimal. For the Steelers, Kenny Pickett got the start. 257 yards, a touchdown, 3 picks. Najee Harris, Plauder University, 17 carries, 65 yards. Pat Fairmuth, 8 catches, 75 yards. George Pickens, 6 catches, 61 yards, and a touchdown. Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool mirrored each other with 5 catches and about 41 and 42 yards.
Yeah, man. Shout out Kenny Pickett.
I like Kenny.
Do you like him?
I'm on board. I'm on the bandwagon. I'm sorry for all the... He's got the charisma about him, the want to win, the gunslinger. I like it all. I like the running. He's not going to slide. He'll fight you if you hit him late. I like that about Kenny Pickett. He has my respect now, and I'm not going to call him baby mitten hands anymore.
He has a lot of turnovers.
It's okay. That's what happens with young gunslingers.
Yeah, I don't know. Nah, I'm a fan too. I like how he's got that dog. He likes to fight, and we'll just have to see how he progresses as his football IQ, and learning when to throw and not to throw, which throws he can make, which throws he can't. Just progressing as a quarterback because he does have those tools, and he's fun. He's exciting.
I think he's figuring out that when you throw to George Pickens, good things happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's going to open up a lot for him. George Pickens is amazing and good things happen when you throw to him, and he just needs to understand that and love that.
Yeah, I think those two are going to be, shower buddies for the next 6 years. They're going to develop a wonderful chemistry. And it's kind of cool to see Pickett's favorite targets be Pat Freiermuth and George Pickens. I think that's kind of cool.
But his favorite target is Deontay Johnson.
I don't think so. I think it's been Pickens and Freiermuth.
But every time that he's played with Deontay Johnson, he's had 10-plus targets.
Yeah, but I think that's more of an unnatural, kind of forced relationship. when I watch the game.
That's an interesting observation.
Yeah, Pickens over the last 3 or 4 weeks is by far away their number one receiver.
You know what is unnatural to me is Chase Claypool in a Steelers jersey.
Really?
Yeah, he looks the part, but his mentality is definitely cupcake.
What's a better fit for him?
Let's see, what's a cupcake wide receiver core?
You know what would be an interesting spot for Chase Claypool?
What?
Jacksonville Jaguars.
That's a good he has the mentality for that. He just doesn't have the Steelers dog. He's a wannabe. You can tell he tries, but dude, no. It ain't happening here.
Maybe the Chiefs. He would be kind of deadly on the Chiefs.
He's a really good wide receiver. I think he can be.
He'd be kind of scary.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, I just want him to get traded.
You just want Pickens to be the guy, even though he already is.
I want Pickens to be the guy. Let's see. Minus those 8 targets and add him to George Pickens, that's 14 targets.
No, he ain't getting all those.
That's 200 yards a game for George Pickens, man.
Nah, he
3
doesn't.
touchdowns.
That's not how it works. And he doesn't need all that.
Okay, let's spread them around. Minus 8, 2 to Deontay, 3 to Pat Freiermuth.
Just give him like 10
That's
targets.
9.
10 targets a game.
That's fine.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the other side of the balls.
The LeVar family.
Tua, 261 yards and a touchdown. Good to see him back. He looked, he had that twinkle in his eye. It's good that after that horrific head injury, he's back and playing with the boys. Raheem Mostert continues to, look real good on him. 16 carries, 79 yards. Chase Edmonds is an afterthought. Jalen Waddle, 4 catches, 88 yards. Tyreek Hill, slow game for him. Not a very good game for him in terms of what he's been putting up this year. 7 catches, 72 yards. Raheem Mostert got a receiving touchdown. The Dolphins went in there and they won this nitty-gritty game on Sunday Night Football, and that's impressive. Shout out to Mike McDaniels. That's real.
Yeah, not a very good game. Raheem Mostert had an excellent game. He was the guy that kind of stood out for me in this matchup. But Tua, he kind of started off good in the first quarter. Last 3 quarters, bad. Can't feel good about that performance from Tua. This is a smash spot. Steelers have been giving up the most yardage and points to receivers in fantasy, to be exact. But this was a matchup Tua should have came out here. Tyreek Hill should have had that big performance. We saw Waddle have some catches, but stinky, man. He should have had like 4 picks in this game. But the bright spot was Raheem Mostert. He continues to be the bell cow. He continues to be, a top 20 running back in fantasy, and he looks great.
Luke, what's at the bottom of the Grand Canyon?
Water, rock, grass.
What's underneath of that?
Underneath it, burial site.
Now we're getting somewhere, bub.
Oh, okay.
What's buried underneath it?
Wow, there's a lot of stuff, I'm assuming.
Conquistadors?
I think at one point it was probably under the water, the Grand Canyon.
Where did all that water go?
That's a great question. I think it stayed, just the ground grew over it. It protruded the surface.
Erosion?
The opposite.
A lot of people claim erosion is the reason the Grand Canyon's there.
Oh, with
a river flowed through it and continued to take the sediment with it, thus leaving a Grand Canyon.
You think it could create all that?
Yes.
Have you seen the Grand Canyon?
Yes, I've been there.
I've never been.
You would literally look over the edge and be like, how is this even possible?
Exactly.
My theory is a meteor hit it.
A meteor?
Yeah.
Does it look like a meteor hit it?
No, it looks like a river flowed through it.
All those
They're telling.
canyons?
I think they made it. When the meteor hit it,
It shot the water out of it?
it shot the water out of it, and then over time the meteor, because it was made out of cosmic debris, that it slowly evaporated into thin air.
Hmm. No, I think it was definitely water that created it. But I'm just intrigued to see what the river or the water looked like in the Grand Canyon.
There's probably a rushing river.
Because it created, like, there's multiple runoffs, right? Like, it's not just one big canyon, there's like hundreds.
There's like the North Rim, the South, but I think it's one big It's literally. We need you to go to the Grand Canyon.
But the Grand Canyon's not just like one line of a canyon. It's like
it's huge,
like crazy everywhere.
Luke, you would gaze over it and be like, I think you would become speechless and you would just stare at it for hours.
I've been told by multiple people that I have to go there.
I wish I was in a better state of mind when I went. I don't think I appreciate it as much, but I also did see one of the most magnificent sunsets. We sat on the edge of the ridge, the Grand Canyon, where I don't think you're supposed to be, and watched the sun go down.
Wow, that sounds amazing.
It was amazing, and it was but I would like to go back in a more clear and respectful mindset of the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, man, absolutely. We have to take a trip out there.
I'd like to go to the bottom too.
Yeah, I heard you could do that. Take a little
But I
donkey.
want you to stay at the top.
Why?
Because I want to see if you can see me.
I would be able to.
I don't think so, dude. It is literally huge. The deepest thing you've ever seen.
You ever seen a Mariana Trench?
I don't think anyone has.
Imagine being on a boat, right, like where Mariana Trench is, and just like jumping off and like swimming around.
I'm not doing that.
What do you think your thoughts are?
My immediate thought when my body hits the water would be, this goes down miles and miles. There's something looking at me, and there's probably something swimming underneath me, and I'd freak out and swim back to the boat.
I've been thinking about it recently. I've been watching a lot of film on like underwater excursions.
You're still on that kick?
Yeah, man, because it's one of my biggest fears, and I find it interesting that people could just go out in the ocean and like swim and investigate. And it's like, man, that place is not a place that you want to be, honestly. And just like thinking about being stuck in the ocean, like even just swimming out there, like where the Mariana Trench is, like you said, just thinking, man, this thing goes down for like miles. It's just an incredible feeling.
I saw a picture on the interweb, and it was a guy. He was holding up. He was like a wildlife photographer / like spear fisher, and it was the last picture of him. But he had a picture, and he was holding up his like spear gun, and he had a huge scar, and it was from a great white bite, but it was fresh. And he was like, "Oh, it was just an accident, just a nibble," and this is why this is the opposite end of the spectrum for me. You have that fear. He literally said it was a nibble. He was back in the water the next day, and a couple weeks later, he went missing, and his leg floated ashore. He had been eaten by a shark.
Wow.
But he had so much love and passion for the ocean that being quote-unquote nibbled by a great white shark, he was back in the water a couple hours later. It's just crazy how some people are just they love something so much that nothing can scare them off, and I respect those people.
Yeah, that's amazing.
The bite was literally it wasn't
Scary.
a nibble. He got chomped.
It's crazy, like the amount of courage to do that is like crazy. And like, yeah, man, I was watching a video of like cave divers that go cave diving in the water.
Those.
I like them too, but it's like, dude, there's so much that could go wrong, and like the courage that you have to go down in like a pitch black cave with so many different holes that you can get lost in, and having no fear and like laughing and having a good time. But like to me, like I would be like freaking out. Like, how do I know which way to go? Where am I gonna get out? Like I can't even see, and it's just like the courage is crazy. It's inspiring, honestly.
Yeah, I watched a sea cave diving, and it was basically like an hour or 2 hour video of someone like getting lost in a cave, and then
Gosh,
barely some miracle got out in the nick of time.
that's crazy.
Like he kept going through different holes and going back, and like
Yeah.
you could feel his fear,
Yeah,
because you're like, I mean, there's not much you can do after you run out of oxygen.
right.
So he was like on a time crunch too. Like
Yeah, it's crazy.
I used to watch videos of just stories about people dying,
And like the stories and like watching those videos, it's like it's not as scary. Like you're kind of comfort because you know it's just a video. But like for me, like even right now, it's getting my heart racing. Like putting yourself in their situation, like how scary and how like real it has to be is just like watching the video doesn't do justice on like how crazy and the things that people actually go through in some of those videos. Because like I wouldn't be able to handle it, and like it's easy to be like, oh, you know, whatever, it's fine because you're watching the video, but just the idea of being in those situations underwater, lost, knowing you won't, your time crunch, like that's the greatest freak out.
Yeah, another interesting situation happened in last night's Monday Night Football game.
Oh, we have another one.
Yes, sir. The Chicago Bears 33, the New England Patriots 14. But that's not the biggest storyline, is the fact that the Bears destroyed the Patriots. It's what happened to Mac Jones, Luke. Came in for a couple series, threw a errant pass that was picked off, and they went with, what was it, Brady?
Bailey Zappi.
Bailey Zappy hour.
That's a good one.
But we'll get into the numbers right now. Justin Fields, 179 yards passing, a touchdown, a pick. Justin Fields on the ground, 14 carries, 82 yards, a touchdown. David Montgomery, 62 yards and a touchdown. Khalil Herbert, 62 yards. Darnell Mooney, 3 catches, 53 yards. Herbert had a receiving touchdown. As far as the Patriots go, Bailey Zappi, 185 yards, a touchdown, 2 picks. Mac Jones, 13 yards, a pick. But when they made that change, Zappi led 2 touchdown drives very quickly, but it seemed to simmer down after that. Ramondre Stevenson, 11 carries, 39 yards, a touchdown. Devontae Parker, 3 catches, 68 yards. Jacoby Myers, 2 catches, 34 yards, and a touchdown. What did that QB change signify the end of Mac Jones in New England, Luke?
No. Nope, it did not. It didn't mean anything. We have to remember that the coach is Bill Belichick, and he's one of those guys that's not scared to experiment, to go out of the norm, and to do it the Belichick way. And I do think the issue, though, is if Mac Jones wasn't ready to play with his ankle, like he shouldn't play at all. He should have just started Zappi another week. No point in starting Mac Jones just to pull him midway through the first. But I don't. I think this is one of those things that people stir up a controversy. Oh, Zappi's the future. Mac Jones is going to be gone. But I don't believe it. They took Mac Jones in the first round. I still think they believe in him. And it was just one of those weird weeks where I think Bill Belichick had this weird game plan. He does this weird to try to maybe throw the team off, maybe get an extra spark. And that's what he did. And I'd be shocked if moving forward they didn't start Mac Jones and they traded him or something. Like that's the whole controversy now, and I would be shocked if that happened.
It seems like the Patriots fans are pro Zappi.
Really?
Yeah, they had all those signs. They were like calling his, chanting his name. It was like he's like a cult hero, which is I don't know. I mean, you hear a lot, but What you just said makes a lot of sense to me. Belichick will do Belichick things. Bill Belichick is the father of Steven Belichick.
That's why you can't trust him. But I mean, to be fair, I mean, Zappe is 2-0. He's been playing well. He's been winning games.
Not anymore.
He led them to 2 touchdown drives, like you said. Like, he's been good. I understand it. I mean, he's more exciting than Mac Jones. But it's hard for me to just be like, nah, he took the job. Mac Jones is no longer the quarterback. Like, it's just hard for me to just say that right now. Even though I'm not a big fan of Mac Jones, I just like, it would be weird for the Patriots just to be like, oh, we're trading Mac Jones. Like, I think that's just a weird thing. Like, that would be unusual for the Patriots.
Do you think people are podcasting about this when Tom Brady came in for Drew Bledsoe?
I think that situation's a little different because that was going into the playoffs.
Drew Bledsoe was their shiny free agent signing. He had a really good career going. Tom Brady was a 6th-round pick.
Yeah, I understand. There's always that chance. I'm not ruling it out. I'm not saying this is for sure. There's always that chance. There's always that chance that Cooper Rush was the next Tom Brady too.
No, this is a very similar situation because this is Bill Belichick and the Patriots.
Right, and that's why I think we saw a lot of Bailey Zappe in this game. But
what is the percentage chance that Zappe is the starting quarterback for the New England Patriots moving forward without Mac Jones?
They just start him the rest of the year over Jones?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Is it less than 50?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
it's less than 50, but I still think it's probably a pretty good chance. Like, I
So
wouldn't
like 45% chance?
maybe like 35.
Okay. That's still, I mean,
Yeah, it's a pretty good chance, but at the same time, like,
they're already saying Mac Jones to Carolina.
yeah, I've been saying that. I've been hearing that too. But to me, that's just kind of like a recency bias, kind of overreaction.
Yeah, it should be interesting moving forward, but
Because what were we saying about Mac Jones last year when he took him to the playoffs? He almost won a playoff game. He won Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year, I think. And he was like, oh, he's the best quarterback of this draft class. And then it's 8 weeks into the second year, coming off a very high ankle sprain. Now we're just like, oh, Zappe's the guy. Like, no.
yeah, but there's like rumors coming out that he's like he doesn't have a good attitude or something.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah, I don't know if that report is true, but there's rumors swirling about that. Like he doesn't have a good relationship with the coach. He has a bad attitude.
Interesting. Maybe there's something there then.
And Brady Zappe's like a goody two shoes.
Maybe.
What's his first name?
Bailey.
Bainey?
Oh my god. This guy and first names, man, I'll tell you.
I'm good at him, man.
I'll tell you this, man. If you go to Mount Everest and you look up to the very top, the ocean is deeper than that.
A lot deeper.
So just think about that if you ever make it out to the Mount Everest.
Thank you for that. You got anything on the Bears? Congratulations to the Bears.
Yeah, man. No one gave the Bears a chance this week after losing to Washington Thursday night. You know, they were the laughingstock of the NFL, myself included. I made a lot of bad jokes. But they dominated this game on both sides. You know, Fields actually looks like a capable quarterback. He ran for 84 yards. Montgomery, Herbert both did very well. And then their defense forced some turnovers. So, yeah, great performance from Chicago.
Yeah, shout out Chicago.
You got anything on Chicago?
Justin Fields needs to use those legs like that every week. And I think in time his passing will come along, but you see the talent there. He still makes a lot of mistakes, and you know he still has a lot of things to work on. But and I like that they don't, you know, shy away from the running game ever. I respect that. I like what they're moving in the right direction in like we said that last week. There's progress, remember? Even though they lost, even more progress. They got a W, you know, this week, and see that's what you want to see out of a young team is progress. And So I think what's his name, Eberflusen or whatever.
Eberflus.
He's doing a good job.
Yeah, I liked early on in this game compared to last game was the game plan of get Justin Fields out of the pocket. And we noticed that early on in the game last night. Play action, get him rolling out of the pocket. The receivers will be in either holes in the zone because the Patriots run zone a lot. There'll be holes out there. You find them. And the game plan was executed perfectly. It was a good game plan. And the week before, it wasn't like that. It was more of, keep him in the pocket, make some throws. But that's not Fields. That's not his game. So this game plan was much better. They did good. They looked good. And hopefully they can continue to learn from these weeks.
He had some magician-like runs.
He did, man.
Where they had him dead to rights, and he got a 20-yard gain out of it. You can't teach that. That's why, you got to keep your eye on the Bears, man, going forward.
Yeah, especially against a defense like the Patriots, who have been on a roll the last few weeks. They came out here, almost put 40 on their head, and didn't turn the ball over very often, and executed very well. Free Khalil Herbert, trade him.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Forget What You Heard. We love you guys. Thanks for the support. Thanks for listening. Hope you have a great week. Enjoy Halloween. We'll be back with more football and more NBA coming up. Take care, you guys, and we love you. Peace, love, and happiness.
Guillermo.
Ooh. Short shot.